Welcome to World of Marketing Podcast, a Foster Web Marketing production. Here's your host, Tom Foster.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World of Marketing, where I talk with industry leaders about marketing, mindset, and business growth. This episode is brought to you by my own company, Foster Web Marketing. Foster Web Marketing is dedicated to providing cutting-edge, highly customizable websites, marketing, video, and strategic solutions specifically designed for law firms, medical practices, and other professional service businesses. Our award-winning web technology and marketing system sets us apart from everyone else. Please visit us on our website at fosterwebmarketing.com if you want to know more. But today is a special day because it's our music series, and I've got my buddy, Kevin Burns, who is one of the best guitarist I've ever met, and also my guitar instructor, which I'm so privileged to have. So Kevin, thank you so much for being on the show with me today.
Thank you for the invite, Tom, and the great introduction.
And you are in your studio there. I see it's so cool that you set this up. I've not seen this before.
Yeah, it's the other side of the building. Yep. Yeah, I figured it was more appropriate than our small little lesson hut.
And so, like, usually I see you in the what I call the orange room.
Yes.
And that's when we're doing that, you're teaching me guitar instruction. But what is this? So you're doing studio work in there too?
I do. I actually do a lot of engineer work, whether it's people sending me in projects to mix. I have some recording here, as well as nowadays with the internet, I get a lot of session work where somebody out of the country or on the other coast will send me some requests for some guitar work, and we record it here and send it out to them. So it's just kind of my musical hub for all things music here. So I do quite a bit of work in here recording and definitely engineering, where I may not necessarily even have played on a project. It's just me mixing or mastering somebody else's production. So it all happens right here.
You're a man of many talents. You're a very talented guy. You and I, we met, let's see, over the summer. Well, that was the first time I was introduced to you during the summer. What was it called? It was a musical event the lady that does that each year, she gives it a new name each year. I don't remember last year's. I think I've been doing it with her for 20 some years now. So right.
But every year it's a new theme.
Lori, right?
Yeah, Lori Nelson, great.
Lori Nelson puts this on every year, and my daughter Maddie Foster's was in the program, and she has a wide range of vocalists and different talents come out. And this was in Annandale, at a park in Annandale, at this beautiful little outdoor theater. And I remember sitting there, and I saw you come out, and I was like, "What's this guy?" He comes out. He's got his long hair put back in a ponytail. Pulls out, I think was it a 12-string or just a
I had a little Taylor nylon string.
Yeah,
electric.
And you just sat down on the ground there, and you just started going. And I was like, "Wow, this guy is good." And I was truly impressed. And I was like, "Wow, man." And fast forward, months and months later, the opportunity to because I wanted Maddie to get guitar lessons. Right. She wanted to learn guitar, and fortunately you were available, and got her going. And then not soon after, I was like, you know what? I want to get better at playing guitar, and got with you, and it's been
the real motivation, right?
Right. And then you and I have become fast friends. As a result, I mean, we're both just guitar enthusiasts and music enthusiasts, and just love what you're doing. But tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get into it? How did you start playing guitar?
I was at my grandparents' house. We'd all go to the relatives all the time. My mom's side's Greek, so we were always together. And they had a big grand piano in the corner. And I remember some relatives would come to sit down and make this big ornate piece of furniture in the corner, make these delicious sounds. So that's kind of where it began, just this attraction to music. But in their basement, they had a little crawl space. And being a kid, I mean, you're just kind of basements and crawl spaces, you can't beat that. But I went in the back and found a guitar. It was probably one of my uncle's, and only had 3 strings on it. And it was a little electric guitar. There's no amp there to be seen, but I started plinking around with it. And that was really my beginnings. I was about 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Started young, and it really, I kind of probably looked over both shoulders and said, yeah, I'm going to be doing this for a while. And I haven't stopped since. So that was really my beginnings. I mean, I had a very early relationship with just music, just the sound of it. My dad was always very eclectic. We'd have a Segovia album. We'd have a Gordon Lightfoot album. We'd have a Kiss Alive 2 album going in the background.
Right.
So we, I had kind of a steady nutritional diet of varying, musical genres. So I think I was primed and ready once I found the right instrument. And it stayed with me since. I mean, I took lessons. I think I was about 8 or 9, and studied classically for quite a few years on into college, and then played professionally. So that's kind of a summed up version of my journey. Many stops along the way.
Is that what you got your degree in? Is in music?
Yeah, music composition. I actually started as a guitar performance major, and the guitar playing was always there, always going to be there. I think at my heart, I love to create. And most of that does end up being on the guitar, but I always had an attraction to orchestral pieces, small ensemble, string quartet, whatever the layout would be. But I always felt a need more to be a composer than someone, especially in school. You're kind of studying the works of others, as part of the curriculum, and to play a piece that's been played for the last 75 years, as good as you're going to play it, or 150 years, what have you. I think I just kind of felt like, well, that's good. It's a discipline, but I have more that I want to bring to the planet. So the composition was an open direction for me. I took.
Do you have any guitarists that you like? This is my favorite. This is who I aspire to be like. Do you have anybody like that, or are you?
Oh yeah, I mean the early inspirations, especially classical, Andre Segovia or Pepe Romero, Vicente Amigos, one currently great flamenco Latin nylon string players. The rock guys, though, because I really think I fell into that pretty quickly. All the early players, Randy Rhoads, probably the ones that I cut my teeth on with growing up in guitar was the Joe Satriani or Steve Vai, Frank Zappa, all kind of influenced my playing. And I think it was also they were educated, so they could talk about the things they were doing in the context of some music theory, because I always had that nerdy side of me that I related to, and because I would hear something and I'd want to know why. What is this? Why is it? Why are we doing this? And those were the players that always seemed to have the.
And that's what you do with me. That's what you do with me.
I mean, so it's kind of a selfish thing that I love more information, and then I love to relay that to somebody else. So
yeah.
Kind of this handoff that I've always had my whole life, for many things. So, but absolutely, that's exactly how you and I work.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And so, do you have I know you do, but for the audience, do you have a guitar collection that you have?
I do. I have far too many. More than I need. I mean, I can only play one at a time, but It's kind of the collector's bug probably, but you have a make or a model that is no longer made, so now all of a sudden it becomes this rare item, and you go on a conquest and you find one and you get it here and you clean it up and you do whatever you're going to do with it. Maybe you modify a few things and now it's yours, and then it's on to the next one. So but I have quite a few guitars and have bought and sold plenty over the years, but either way, it's one at a time, electric and acoustic. So I'm pretty well versed.
And here is the Strat I've been telling you about.
Oh yeah, gorgeous.
With the Seymour Duncans on it.
Yep, gorgeous.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got just a little road rash.
Yeah.
But this one, and here's my other.
Oh yeah.
Kelly.
Talked about that one. I do remember talking about that one.
This was my first real guitar.
Yeah, that's nice and red. That's rich.
Right?
Awesome.
And I actually put Seymour Duncan pickups on this and then took them out because I didn't like it.
Oh, really? So would you put the original ones back in?
Put the original pickups back in. But yes, that guitar I'll probably never sell. And this one, and then of course this is my this is Trigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
My Martin that I love. But yes, I have a little collection myself, nothing compared to yours. But and then I've got a bunch upstairs and then a bunch at home.
Oh, you do have a bunch at home. I get surrounded by them every week.
Yes.
from my comfortable position here behind the laptop.
That's right. So you tell me, are you currently or have you been in bands? Are you in a band or?
I have. I'm always doing some project, but I've definitely been in many bands over the years. Quite a few rock outfits. I did kind of the normal coming of age. You get an all original band making a bunch of noise and get out and play some of the crappy little clubs in your local area. And then I made my way out to Los Angeles quite a few years back. I had a friend that was out there working with the band Dokken, which was a 80s band, George Lynch, one of my favorite guitar players as well. And he messaged me and said, hey, they're looking for another guitar player. They've been broke up now for a while, and a couple of the members want to do a side project, and they're looking for a guitar player. And I sent out an audition tape, and within 3 days, got a call back from Mick Brown, their drummer, and flew me out there and did an in-person audition and got the gig. So initially it was a side project, Gypsy Dogs, if I remember right, the name we were going to call it, not a Dokken thing. And that slowly evolved into a Dokken reunion without George, me at the helm. And really cool experience because I quit my job. I moved out there and we started to record an album. We were scheduled for a 16-month tour, and I was pretty involved with that for a good amount of time. In the end, Sony Music offered them a little more money to try and get George back on, and I came home. Which, hey, to lose out off the original member, I'm fine with that. Those were big shoes. So, but yeah, that was a good venue for me to start kind of some networking and also getting out there and playing with a lot of other acts that would come in. Sometimes it's a one-off. Somebody will send me, hey, here's 12 songs. We're going to play in Florida. We're going to play in New York or out in LA. We have 3 shows. Learn the songs. You're going to fly in. We're going to fly in. We're going to play a show, and then that'll be it. So I get those kind of fun venues as well. But bands, I'm as eclectic as my music in that I enjoy the rock thing. There's a jazz side to me that I've always pursued as well. So I've had a couple 3-piece, 9-piece, 7-piece jazz bands that we played pretty regularly. A little different genre than the rock stuff, but all pretty much instrumental. I think
What do you play? What do you play when you play in the jazz band? What guitar do you play?
It varies. I may have a Gibson, hollow body or kind of Les Paul style. But a lot of times I end up with more of the Strat style body style anyway, with humbuckers, kind of like your blue one behind you. And my setup gives me a good versatile tone. That's probably the one I'm most comfortable with. That and my nylon string. I mean, I do quite a bit of nylon string work, especially in those settings too. You have a little more dynamic range there than, the off or on switch for a rock band, So the nylon string follows me as well.
I love your flexibility. That's something that I've always loved about you, is that you're so easygoing. This is not an easy business.
No, it's not. It's not.
And you just are so easygoing about it. You just like take things in stride. It is what it is. Very easygoing. How do you maintain this easygoing spirit, Kevin?
I feel like I'm here for a purpose. And so far, that all seems to be music. And I kind of committed to that. And whatever's in front of me, I kind of view as that's where I'm supposed to be. I love a challenge. I love an area that I'm weak. I find that extremely attractive to let me make that stronger. Let me find out more about it. I mean, I need to eat. So on the probably the bigger leveler of all that is let's at least be able to have my hands in more baskets than just one. Hey, I'm a blues player. That's all I do. Period. Which is fine, but I never felt like I wanted to limit myself to just this one little box. And I'm that way with how I write. I'm that way with music. It's kind of a flexibility in the present moment. And working with a lot of different personalities, you really have to be, more easygoing, because it's not, you never know what's coming in the door. And a lot of times it's a matter of, I'd rather keep an open environment to whatever that's going to be than subtract from it through a lens of either biases or oh no, I would never do that. I mean, I think my one guitar teacher, I think I was 16, and we were in the middle of playing through a Villalobos concerto, and he said, Kevin, and this was kind of random, in the middle of a lesson, he'd sit there and he'd pet his cat while me and him are while I'm playing, and he's bashing the crap out of me with critique. But he said, never turn down a gig. He said, you absolutely never know where things will take you. And I think I've kept that in the back of my mind in any situation ever since then. So kind of a long answer, but I
love that answer. I love that too. And that is, that's also one of my other heroes in life, as you know, William Shatner, who I just like to go see.
Yep,
that's
absolutely.
one of his things. He never says no. He never says no to anything. And because you never know where it may lead.
You don't. And I found that to be true. I mean, and there's some things that you're a quarter of the way in and you go, yeah, this one probably should have been a no.
Right. This one should have been a no, but that leads you into something that is a better thing.
Correct.
So what are some of the daily rituals that keep you so grounded, that keep you?
Good coffee. Start there. That's a requirement each day. I need to interact with music daily on some level. I find that to be kind of the keeper of an even tempo for me each day. That's probably the first thing. If I'm away from it for a week, I can feel it. and most people around me, my wife or friends can also feel that it's just kind of a imbalance. Like, yeah, you need to go back into your hole and re-energize with those things. So that I'd say a good workout in the morning. I'm a big fitness guru. I love health in general.
And you're also a personal trainer, aren't you?
I am in the morning. Yep. That's my moonlighting in the AM hour. Not super early, but early enough. So yeah. And again, another place I always nerded out with the information and the knowledge of it. And then I said, well, hey, I'm good at teaching. So let me get certified and do some training and help other people. So kind of a similar format too, because it's one-on-one. It's, the weekly meeting. So yeah.
You're a man of many talents, Kevin. So what is next for you? Like, what is next?
Right now, I'm actually in the middle of working on a new solo album. The last one I came out with, I think we did a remastering of that a few years back. You can find that online. It was Shake, was actually the original name of the project, and then we kind of rewrapped it for just me, because it's really an instrumental album with me playing on it. But this one I started with a drummer over COVID. We met right before COVID, and then they kind of shut everything down, and we did the bulk of our work online. I mean, he had a nice drum room set up where he was, and he said, look, I don't have any other projects coming in. I'm just going to throw a bunch of mics on here, and we can leave them that way for months. Every time you have an idea, send it to me. And basically he finished, I think I have 12 or 13 songs that I've got back here behind me on these hard drives blinking behind me.
I'm fascinated to talk to you more about that, because that is something, as you know, I am very much into. And right now I'm at the mercy of Logic and the drummer and Logic just to make these drum beats, which serves a purpose, but I would much rather have a drummer and the creativity of a drummer come up with stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's actually, I'll give you a little backstory to this, because it was a very moving experience. I had a whole album finished, kind of like you and I talked about working. You got a little drum machine there, you make a little pattern and you sketch out a song. And I had these all sketched out, and for most people listening to it that aren't really paying that much attention, go, oh, why can't you just put it out the way it is? And, it's a drum machine, given the drum machines now sound great compared to what they used to. And they're programmed and all that. But I found this drummer. We actually were doing a different project, and he asked me similar question to you. What else are you doing? And I said, I have this other thing that I really would like drums on. And we talked about it. We didn't say a word about it. And it was about 6 months later. We're both in the middle of COVID. And he said, hey, remember that thing you mentioned to me? Can you send me those files? And about 4 months later, he started sending me a couple songs of just him doing the drum work over the original tracks. And I sad ending, but it was very moving. I didn't realize at the time he was struggling with his health, and he was actually in the middle of cancer treatments. He was very quiet about it. And he finished, he was coming out of chemo, and to him, this was a very uplifting, get his momentum back playing on these tracks, because he had 13 tracks to just bang away at. And he finished all of those, and he passed shortly thereafter. And
wow.
I didn't put all those pieces together until, once I realized, oh, wow, that's what was happening in his life. So to me, it's now charged with, I absolutely have to get this thing out.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. Very inspiring project. And just having John Tracy was his name.
John Tracy. And this album is called Shake?
No, that was my past.
Okay, what is this album called?
This one will be called Sonically Blue.
Sonically Blue. Well, that's appropriate.
Yes. And you can kind of sum that up in COVID and all the things we had to do with as musicians. We're kind of locked into our little holes trying to figure out, well, can I actually play with other people online? Wait.
Wow, that is great. And that is very inspiring. So
Yeah.
John's the drummer, right? And John did all the drum tracks. Now, do you do the bass and the rhythm and the lead and everything else?
I've done everything else.
Is there any synth or keyboards or any of that
There'll
stuff?
be some keys. There'll probably be a couple string arrangements, all the bass, all the guitars, everything else is me. Now, as I kind of get each song sketched out, at least with the final parts I'm going to play, I'll probably reassess that and see whether there's some players that I want to ask or invite to come in. I kind of like things to be a little more interactive with more people. The last album had a good amount of people on it that sat in and had their own little influence to the project. But this one has, a lot of these songs have been with me. I mean, there's one of them on there that I think I was 17 or 18, and it was finally to bring that one into the universe and say, here, you finally have a home. So I feel somewhat indebted to, I'm happy doing it all, but we'll see. To be determined. There may be a few other players I get in on it. But right now it's just me and John.
This is very intriguing to me, and you and I are going to talk about this more.
Absolutely.
Because I've got, as you know, a collection of songs and more up here that need to be put out. And I need some help pulling this all together. And obviously you've got the studio, you've got my guys do too, like Tito that plays bass, Tito DeLeon, he's got a studio too with the drum room and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got songs that I want to put out there. I was actually a few months ago, I was going to get some session players to put out my song in Nashville. That was going to cost, I was going to pay like $3,000 to have this done. And the last one I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to wait. The time is not right.
Right.
I want to do this myself. I don't want you guys doing it. So, but anyway, well, this is fantastic.
Count me in on that one. Whatever that goes, count me in. If I can help, great.
Oh, you're in. Brother, ever since I met you, my life has changed completely musically. I mean, you have been so great for me. And okay, so Kevin Burns, BURNES.com, Kevin Burns. You got to put the dub in there to get there, everybody. That's where you can find out more information about Kevin Burns and everything that he does, because he does instructing and he helps you with your music. If you want to hire him for a gig, if you want to get him to play some guitar for you, anything. This guy is the man. And what an incredible human being to work with. I can tell you that firsthand. And there's not a lot of good people like you in the world, and there needs to be more. But it has been it's just been magical knowing you and being your friend, Kevin.
I feel the same, Tom. I really appreciate the invite to be here today. Much appreciation from me. I feel the same about you. It's been a great run of bouncing back and forth things and going, hey, you do that too, or you know that too, or you're into that too. So it's relationships in the end, right?
It totally is. And I credit Kevin for my advancing in my guitarmanship and my musicmanship. He's teaching me music theory and things that I didn't even really think about before. And it's just been fantastic. All right, everybody. I really appreciate you. Stay tuned on the World of Marketing for this special music series with my very special good friend, Kevin Burns. And we are looking forward to your album coming out, Sonically Blue. You'll let us know when that's available.
I will.
All right, buddy. All right, everybody. You hang around, Kevin. All right, everybody. Been Tom Foster and Kevin on the World of Marketing. You take care. Have a great day.